Welcome to Nintendo Ninja News, and we're here for the review of Embers of Mirrim, which is a very interesting game. Um, it's a very interesting game. I got it a few days ago. I've been playing through it. Very much enjoyed it. So let's get into the game now. It's available on other platforms, but it looks good on the Nintendo Switch. So let's get into the old screenshots and chat about the game and see what I thought of it. Roll the screens. The Embers of Mirren is a very interesting game. What I noticed was the introduction and these two sort of tribes, these sort of wolf cat tribes, sort of coming together. There was some sort of peril or something like that is happening, and it looks like they're having a bit of an animal meeting together, and it's very, very interesting because the two tribes sort of argue with each other, and eventually down the track, one from each side of the tribe sort of merge together into like this sort of super beast that can create different embers of power from light and dark, and all that sort of thing, and puzzle type creations too. So that was a really interesting thing about the storyline. I really liked the artwork and the graphics and things like that. I felt that was really well done and put together, and I think that was quite enjoyable. Now, the whole idea of the splitting into, it's sort of a platformer slash puzzle game where you sort of split in two and you go through these little puzzles and things like that. Obviously, looking at the screenshots during the review, you will see how things work out and progress and stuff like that. So you can do sprinting, you can do gliding in the game, which is very cool. And there's a bit of a ground pounce that can, hurt some foes and break some grounds and things like that. Now, what I liked about this game is obviously the very clever puzzles, and I felt like they got the difficulty spike spot on, and that's something that's very hard in video games, where I just felt like it never got too difficult in the game. There was a couple little difficulty spikes here and there, but it's not a game where you're dying 12, 15 times in a row. You can sort of work out what to do and things like that. Now, some of the problems that some people may have, and I had a little bit too, is the thumbstick coordinations. By using those two and sort of moving it outwards with this animal, sometimes it tries to get you to do things that is not really possible with your character, which can be a little annoying. So, but that's the way it is. So I like the clever puzzles. The difficult spike is really, really spot on. Now, one thing that I complained about at first was they're using the B button as an A button, so it's kind of PlayStation, PS4 sort of thing, because I kept on pressing the A button at times, to go into the menu and that, and it's the opposite. So do be aware of that. So put on your rival console hat when playing the game with the controllers. I tried to look for an option to switch the controls to to a Nintendo one where you just press A to start the game and that, but nope, that ain't happening with Embers of Mirren. So some of the other things that I noticed was the music is quite nice. I felt it was just a nice little background music that I felt was really good. I felt it really mixed in with the game well. The storyline is interesting. I felt that was good. Some of the other things that I enjoyed is the embers, the light and the darkness, and how you use those ember powers to change creatures, and they help you out. So use the light amber, it does one thing. If you use the dark, it does something else. So it's very, very interesting in that respect, and I think that was really, really cool. I think the storyline is very interesting, and everything else that sort of progresses out of there. So overall, I think that this game was very good. Now, the only little issue that I have with this game is your character can be quite small on the TV screen. And I think it probably shows up a bit more in the portable handheld mode, where my eyesight is not the best, but it was sort of a little hard to see that tiny character running around in this big sort of, very nice artwork sort of background that it's on. So it's a little tricky for that. But I got through it, and I sort of just... It's one of those games where you can sort of quietly play to yourself, and it does tick up time. You don't notice you've been on it for an hour or two, and it's like, oh, it's quite an enjoyable game. It's a very sort of relaxing sort of game that gives you a bit of a brain exercise, I would say, is the best way to describe it, and I enjoyed it. So that's all I've got to say. So let's head back to the Ninja News desk to see what my final score will be. Well, Embers of Mirren, what do I think of the game overall? I think it has a good storyline. I think the puzzles are set down very nicely. I believe that the storyline holds up really nicely. The interesting two tribes and all that sort of thing. The difficulty spike was spot on. I like the backgrounds and the animations, and just when you think during the game where things were in a bit of a lull and you sort of feel like it starts to get a little predictable, they just throw in something different to sort of make you wake up a bit and go, oh, okay, something different's happening. I didn't expect that. So it has a very nice pacing, Embers of Mirren. So I'm going to give it an 8.5. Yeah, I think it's pretty good. And I think it really holds together quite nicely. Of course, people will say, oh, it's a port from another game. You can probably get it elsewhere. But I think it holds up well enough on the handheld mode. And it's a nice addition to the Nintendo Switch, which I think is a worthy little buy for anyone looking for a nice, pleasant puzzle platforming game that will, if you're a fan of animals, this might be something up your alley. So, that's my review, 8.5. I think it's a worthy little title to own. So, that's it for me, and I shall see you next time on Nintendo Ninja News.